All right, welcome to week one in CIT 82 Introduction to Web Development. I'm glad you're here. This content's going to be released before the start of the semester. And the reason I do that is to give students a chance, to get some of the setup done. Like I talked about with week zero, it's really important that you get that GitHub. And if you don't know that term, you missed it on week zero, make sure you go back. You get that GitHub username set up and you submit it to me. Okay, so here in week one, we have Thursday night due date. So normally every week we have a Monday night and a Thursday night due date, and each of them have typically 3 items. Okay, I talked about that a little bit, but this week you're going to see one due date Thursday night, and that's the one where we'll talk about those 3 items. Before I jump into that, one thing I want to say after I reviewed the video from week zero, which by the way, I'm in my house today. So this is very common, I think, for many of us. Like we work in various areas. And so, which is actually great because it provides a lot of flexibility. One of the things I wanted to say about the Discord server is that it's really important that when you jump on Discord, actually, that's kind of the way we talk about Discord is you jump on the server, you'll get an automated message. And one thing I want you to make sure you have in your head is like you can just say, please add me to like CIT82 class channel. That way you can be put into that private channel that I talked about. Because I know I mentioned it in the video for that, but I just want to clarify that. All right, so here in week zero, I want you to get in a great start of this class. And part of that great start, because some of the things you're going to do this week are a little more technical than they are conceptual, although we do have some conceptual items this week. And conceptual means the lecture material, right? So our lecture material is actually going to feel like a hands-on assignment because remember, we have lectures, hands-on, and discussions. The thing about a class like this, and I just want you to understand this, is that, and I know as faculty, as teachers, we often say work ahead, but I can give you a really solid reason why you would want to for a class like this. Let's say are working on week one items and you finish them a day or even 2 days early or more, I will actually have the time to go and review that work and give you feedback. And if there's something you've missed, okay, then you can fix it and then I will grade it for full points. So that's a really helpful, I believe, thing. And the reason I do it is to give you that opportunity to fix something that you may have missed. Like this week, you're going to learn some really important things like how to edit files, how to set up your GitHub, how to embed things into the discussion board on Canvas. And if you miss some of these important steps when you do it, I can give you that feedback and you can fix it. Now, sometimes in a discussion that there'll be 2 replies, sometimes not. Make sure you read the content of the assignment because sometimes I'll talk about it in the video and sometimes I'll forget. So just read the assignment to see if there are replies required. Now, why am I mentioning that? Because until all those replies are done, I won't grade it, but I will at least review it for the technical aspects of it and give you feedback. And by the way I give you feedback is if once you submit something into the grade book, and if you see there's a little icon that shows like a little discussion, and in there you will see my feedback. If you don't see it, let me know, which by the way, that's going to be one of the replies you could do to this is have you seen already my feedback like from week zero where you submitted your GitHub username? Okay, so let's get into the content for this week. So this week I'm actually looking at Canvas as an instructor and not as a student. Remember last in week zero I showed you that setup and you'll see me talk about this a little more here. So for this week, you're going to have a short lecture. And again, this is going to feel like setting up, it's going to feel like your hands-on assignment. But your hands-on assignment, well, let's just look at it, okay? Because you actually have a video. I don't need to to go over this with you. Actually, I have two videos for this assignment. Really important to follow my instruction because I do mark off for missing some of the naming standards and those type of associated things. And then you'll have a markdown assignment, which if you don't know markdown, you're about to learn it, which is, I think, great and helpful because markdown is used all the time in the web. Most commonly, you hear HTML, which is a markup language, but Markdown is a simplified version of HTML. Okay, so you'll learn that for this week. And then the last item is probably, and I probably should have called this one the hands on because this one is the one where you're actually going to learn about print screens and how to modify photos, how to embed them in your replies, and there's two videos for this one. Now, this one is, and actually so is Markdown, but these are things that you're going to use throughout the rest of this class, okay? So learning them here will be really helpful, and understanding them, right, will serve you well because sometimes what I've noticed is students do these first couple assignments because I focus on them, but then later on in the assignments they forget and they do it a different way. So I just tell you that will hurt your grades. So try not to do that. But again, I could circle back around to the whole, like, you know, working ahead and the benefit. So anyway, try not to do that if at all possible. All right, so this is your week 1 in CIT 82. What do you, when you reply to this is your attendance post. Oh yeah, two things I need to mention. I'm glad I was almost about to quit, but I remembered two things. One, when you reply, this is your attendance for the week. This is how I count attendance. So if for some reason you come late, right, and I really want you to do one on Monday or even beforehand if it's posted, but this shows that you were in class this week. And if you post after Monday, I will still, it's still good. I want you to watch the video, but that doesn't count as attendance. But here's the thing, attendance doesn't count in your grade because I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. I believe participation is really your work. Just doing attendance is a reporting aspect that you and I have to do. Second thing I want you to end with, or what I want to end with, is the fact that if you do miss work for this class, you can submit it late. Just know that it is discounted 25%. And you'll find that in the syllabus that, again, I know life happens. It happens for all of us. And sometimes you just can't get to something, right? But know that due dates are listed at midnight. But as long as that work is there, when I grade that next morning, I consider it submitted on time. I don't put that anywhere in Canvas. So by listening to this video all the way to the end, you got that. All right. So there's a couple of things you could reply to that. Ask me any questions about that. Remember I mentioned before, you could reply about that, understanding those concepts, or any other questions that you would have for me this week. All right. Glad you're here, and let's get started.